Of our CELPIP students went to the exam and scored 12 in reading, which is nearly impossible these days, and 11 in other tasks, including writing, which is going to be our focus today. And our students are able to do that time after time. Why? We'll understand that today. First of all, when we talk about CELPIP writing, it challenges you on a lot of fronts. It asks you to do perfect grammar, no mistakes, good flow, good vocabulary, structure, and there's so much more. And we're going to cover each and everything in this video today, from step 1 to step 10, and we'll look at all those factors, flow, structure, and so on. We'll look at this question and we'll look at a sample answer that would score just 5. It's going to be a part of a paragraph, and at the end of this video, we're going to turn it into a score of 12, and I'll show you exactly what steps you need to follow at home in order to accomplish that. So here's the question. You can pause the video, you can read the question. Basically, you took a photography course, you're not satisfied. Now, among all these questions, the one I'm going to focus on today is bullet point number 2. Explain your dissatisfaction with the quality of the tutorials. Now, the student who took this question had this answer. So we'll look at this, and this right now will score 5. The course did not help me. It does not have much content, and if I try to play some videos there are so many, okay, there's no pause here. There are so many times when the file corrupts. This is level 5. If you write like this, expect a level 5 or near it if you are near this level. So let's get into the improvements. Everybody, we're giving away free CELPIP materials, including a free assessment. All you got to do is like the video and comment down below. Lucky winners will be contacted and you will get access to our free training. Comment below and like the video. Now, the first thing I want to fix here is the grammar. Right away, you can see the changes in red. It does not have much content, so I have a comma here because with and, this person is now adding another point. So if I try to play some videos, it's another point. Ideally, it should be in a new sentence, but just to fix it right now, I put a comma here and then continued. Now, you also need to pause here because this is one clause. If I try to play some videos, pause. There are so many times, so you need a comma here. When the file gets corrupted instead of corrupts, it gets corrupted. It happens to the file. So that's just a basic grammar mistake right there. And that is how it will look like once we fix the grammar. So when you proofread at home, the first step you want to do is fix your grammar mistakes. Next thing is tone. Observe the tone. How does this sound like? Well, the first sentence the student said was in black. The course did not help me. Doesn't it feel incomplete? Like that's just one sentence? Let's talk about the extent. Well, it did not help me much. Okay, now it's more complete. I feel more complete there. And if you remember earlier, I said that point the student was trying to make, the second point, should be in a new sentence. So that's what I've done here. Also, if I try to play some videos, what I've done here is added a connector to link it to what I have already said. And by saying also, I'm separating 2 points, which are really independent points, which is why they did not belong in the same sentence. So problem solved. The tone looks much better now. Let's look at the flow. This is going to be a paragraph in between other paragraphs. So I have to use a connector before I start it without just abruptly starting. I'm going to use the word unfortunately, because this is a complaint I'm making. So the previous one, if you remember the previous bullet point, it was about give the date and the course you purchased. When I go from that body to this body, I need a transition. Well, unfortunately, the course did not help me much. And you can use multiple words here, things like on top of that, furthermore, accordingly, however. All of that depends on what you're trying to say and from which paragraph you are transitioning to what type of paragraph. This is more of a complaint one, so you got to use words like unfortunately, which are negative. Now we're going to look at the vocabulary. Everything you see in red are the changes. Now the first sentence that the student said was that the course did not help me much. How can I say that better? How can I use more advanced words and phrases? Well, I could say it did not help further my learning. So not only is the vocab, the one-worded vocab or word, not only can that be changed, you can also change that to a phrase, and sometimes they fit better. This sentence initially was too small anyway, so adding a few words makes it more complete. Moving on, it does not have much content. Now I have added this because if you see the previous answer right there, it just says it does not have much content. It doesn't offer more explanation. I want the task response to be better, and I'm going to use good vocabulary to link it. So I'm going to use words like related to wedding photography, which is my current field. So what I'm doing is I'm adding words that make it look realistic. This looks like I'm doing an exam and answering a question. This looks like a real specific scenario, and that's what I want it to look like. Next, also, if I try to play some videos, there are so many. I removed so because so and many are the same things, especially if you're saying many times, it's the same thing, it's repetitive, not good vocab there. And instead of times, I've said instances, once again, trying to use better vocabulary. Then let's look at if we have some complex sentences here. You don't need a complex sentence in every paragraph, a few are enough. And in this case, we do have one with if. So also, if I try to play some videos, comma, there are many instances. When you have a sentence starting with if, you have two clauses, if something something, comma, something something else. So this is perfect, and that's good enough. I have no issues with that. Finally, I'm gonna make the last version look better. Overall, what are the changes that I can still implement and improve? Now, before I talk about that, understand that at this point, this is good. At this point, you have reached the level of 10 to 11. So if you are this far, that's good enough. These improvements are to be made at home when you're practicing, and also in the exam when you proofread. And you wouldn't have that much time to really go through all of this in the exam, which is why you want to practice this at home. But if you do have more time in the exam, you want to do one more touch, one final touch. What can I do here to make it look even better? Let's have a look. So this is the first version, actually I should say second last version, and this is going to be our final version. Unfortunately, the course did not help further my learning, especially in advancing my knowledge of wedding photography. So what has happened here, guys? Did you notice? We have added the word specially. It's an adverb, and that was missing in our previous one because we need a good range of expressions and words. Adverbs do the job. So especially is an adverb, and I have also linked this now with the next sentence. So the first and the second sentence are now one sentence, making this a complex sentence. Again, you don't have to, but the more complex sentences you have, the better. You need a good mixture of complex and simple sentences, so you would eventually have simple sentences. You cannot avoid them. Whenever you can try complex sentences, do your best. The next thing is changing words like my current field to primary focus. It's just more advanced and more unique. And finally, instead of also, I want to use something better, something more advanced, and additionally would be a more advanced connector than something informal like also. So at the end, I have this version, and I don't feel like there are any more improvements I can make to these. But when I'm trying to give my final version to my teacher, to the examiner, I want to make sure I can do every little bit of editing until I reach the very best I can do. So you want to make sure you do that too. Follow these steps and review this video again and try to do the same thing at home, especially when you proofread. Now also, if you want to guarantee your scores in writing and other modules, just like our student at the start of this video and 65,000 plus students who have already purchased our CELPIP 15-hour course, check it out in the link in the description and you will guarantee yourself a phenomenal score. We promise that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Talk to you soon.